Hi guys, and welcome back to episode 4 of the Recession project. Today I am sharing with you my budget planner. I made this budget planner about 2, maybe 3 years ago now, and I have shared it with thousands of families, individuals, parents, to help them see where their money is coming from and where it is going towards, to help you get on top of your debt, save for things, and live a comfortable life. Because we all know money worries creates stress, and stress around money is not a good thing to have. So, very basic budget planner. It is free. I would love for you all to get a copy. It is nothing special. I created it using Google Sheets, so you can download the app and check it on your device anywhere and anytime. I personally love it. I have used this kind of a template for years and years and years and years. I find it really helpful. I also have a similar one I use when I go to my accountant. That gives a breakdown of all our bills, incoming, outgoing. I don't just chuck my things in an envelope. But anyway, let's just get to the budget planner. I'm going to share a couple of tips with you. I really hope it's going to help some people out there in regards to budgeting and seeing what you actually are spending, what you're actually saving, and what your actual income is. Enjoy. So this is my budget planner. It is a very basic budget planner. It is free. If you want a copy, pop over to my Instagram page, Her Ordinary Mum, drop me a DM, or you can go to my website, herordinarymum.com, and you can purchase one there. It's free and I'll send it to you. It needs to be a Gmail account because this is set up using Google Sheets. So before I get started, you can download Google Sheets. It is free. It is an app, so you can basically check your budget, update your budget on your electronic device anywhere, anytime. So let's just get started. Basically, this is just a welcome tab to tell you how budget works. They need to be flexible. And look, from time to time, you are going to go outside your budget because the unexpected happens, and that's what budgeting is all about. Let me just look at my dirty screen for a minute too. So basically, down here, I've got a few tabs. So let's just look at this one here, which is the budget tab. This is the sort of the overview, the content page, or where you're going to put in all of your data. Before you fill this page out though, so this page here basically has all of your outgoings, what your weekly expenses are, any savings that you want to work towards. So if you've got a home loan you want to try and save for, you want to go on a holiday, you want to purchase some new furniture, a car, you can change these to what you want them to be, or you can just leave them blank. And then this here is your really important part. After all your bills are paid, what do you have left over in your account? And after your bills are paid and savings have been accounted for, these here, what if you get left? If these are negative, you're living outside your means. Just plain and simple, you are living outside your means. Anyway, before we get into this here, I want you to come down to these tabs here. These ones are pretty important, and I want you to fill these out first. You will see here there are some little sort of comments and asterisks. I have put formulas in behind these. So when you populate your weekly income, when you populate your income, mortgage, insurances, cars, schooling, anything that applies to you, it'll pre-populate it in here for you on a weekly basis. I work on a weekly budgeting plan because I find week to week I have better consistency. I have tried budgeting fortnightly and monthly. I need to break it down week to week, Sunday to Saturday, Monday to Sunday, whatever works for you. But week to week, I find it a lot easier to manage my outgoings and my savings when I've broken down all my bills to be weekly. So the third tab, here is your income. Now, I'm actually going to pretend budget this one, and we're going to do it together. So let's work our way through. This one here, a lot of people actually get very confused when it comes to income. So they might say on your employment that you earn $55,000 a year. That is before tax. That might include commission, bonuses, and perks. If you don't know what your take-home income is, you need to either ask your HR team or work out what your payslip gives you. This is for Australia only. I'm sure other countries have their own version. Pop onto, so this is the pay as you go withholding weekly taxable income. So let's work off the theory that I am earning $55,000 a year pre-tax, and it's got no other perks. So on top of that is my super, on top of that is bonuses. A lot of the times in Australia, you'll be offered a package, say the package is 55, and that includes super. You need to find out what you are actually getting paid. So I earn, again, this is a hypothetical, $55,000 a year. I worked out what I get in my weekly paycheck. If you get a monthly paycheck, you can work out what you get weekly. But my weekly paycheck, pre-tax, is $1,057. So I will go through this table and find out. This gives you every single calculation. It also gives you, you can do fortnightly and monthly tables as well. So this is the weekly one, but you can get the fortnightly and the monthly one if you want to make it a little bit easier to then work out what your weekly taxable income is. So 1057 is going to be over here somewhere. 1057. So I do have tax-free threshold. That's a mouthful. So I need to take out of my income $202 a week. That then becomes my take-home money every week. After all my taxes are paid, everything's sorted, minus 202, so I'm taking home $855 cash in the hand. That's really important to understand. So then what, this kind of sounds a bit messy, but I think it's really important to understand what your take home in your pocket is. So you don't just go, oh, I got all this money coming in, I'm on this amount a year. Actually figure out what you're earning a week cash in hand. What I then do, so let's just go back to the budget planner. This is asking for your, let me just move you up here. So this is asking for your annual income. So what I would do is I would go $855. How many weeks are in the year? 52. And that gives me $44,660 cash in hand. So for those that have never done it before, you will then understand that although you might be on $55,000 a year, the government takes $5,440 from you. So you need to understand tax. A lot of people don't. So again, hypothetically, my annual after tax, and I actually give you a note down here, this should be calculated after tax, so actually what you take home. So if you do get confused, come back and watch this video or just read my notes. Let's just go back to my budgeting template, and you will see with my budgeting template, because we have not entered any outgoings here just yet, it's basically showing me $855. So it's calculating it for me. So what we need to do, we've done our income. Now, if there's two of you, put your incomes in. If you've got investment in regards to property or shares, work out your income after all your bills are paid. So if you've got investment property and you get $340 a week in rent, well, you probably don't, because you're probably paying a real estate agent a fee every week. Work it out, do your calculations, and then I like to put it in annually. It just gives me a nice rounder figure to see annually what I'm getting, and then I break it down weekly. If you have a mortgage, you need to put in your monthly repayments. And I put monthly in here because most banks do a monthly repayment installment. Weekly, yes, is better because you do pay it off quicker, but it does help a lot of people having it monthly, and that was the feedback that I got. So I have put monthly repayments in there. So let's say we have a mortgage. Let's say our monthly repayments, $1,100 a month. That is what we have in outgoings. If I go back to my income, in my budget, my outgoings now show I have a mortgage repayment. I have to make this payment every week, $253.85. And as you can see over here, it's dropped down what my savings are down to $601.15. So it's all pre-calculated for you. So complete your mortgage. Do you have one mortgage, two mortgages? If you don't have any mortgages, you just leave it blank. On to insurances. So this one's really important to do as well. With insurances, we budget annually for the fact that if you pay an annual upfront payment for insurances, you usually get like a month free. That can be really tricky for some people to budget, because you can literally be charged a few $1,000s in a one-off hit, but you do save more. So it is up to you how you do it, but the feedback I got was a lot of people do pay the annual up free to save money. So again, you would go through and put in. So we have a home, we have a mortgage, so let's put in that we have to pay $980 a year for building insurance. Contents insurance, yes, we do have contents insurance. So again, guys, I'm making up these figures. Let's put in that we have to be insured for $450 a year. We don't own a boat, but we do own a car, and our car costs us $950 a year. Now, if you do find that when you put your insurances in, you start to see how high this is, I think this is really important to see how much money you are paying in insurances. Insurance is a very personal thing. Personally, our family, think it is important to insure our belongings. If you find this figure is too high, this is a really good time to shop around and say, we have building content, a car, a caravan, and we want a better deal, or shop around to a different insurance company. If you have seen The Barefoot Investor, he gives some great tips on how you can reduce your insurances. If you want insurance but hate paying the fees, one of his tips was, instead of having like a really low excess, so if we have building insurance for $980 and our excess is $200, so if we have an incident in the home and we pay $200 excess, it will get fixed. If you increase that excess, so say we increase it to $600 you would have to pay, the annual fee or the monthly fee you would pay significantly drops. You just need to work out where you want to sit with what is worth in the home that you could just repair or replace yourself, or the big ticket items that you want to make sure that you're covered for. It's a bit of a tricky one, but look, I do recommend reading The Barefoot Investor. He does have some great tips around insurance. And then car. People usually forget about their cars if you have any car repayments. Look, let's just hypothetically say we do have a car repayment here, and the car repayment our family has, hypothetically, is $80 a month. So let's just pop that in. Now, the last one I did put in here is schooling, because I do know a lot of people, like children at school and their school fees, whether that's a private school or they've got to buy uniforms and camps and allow for those kind of things. Our kids aren't in school yet, they are in daycare, so I'm not going to fill this in here. Again, this is just hypothetically, people. Actually, hypothetically, let's fill it in. Let's just say that we've got monthly fees, because I have no idea. Let's say we've got $20 a month in monthly fees, and I want to allow for camps. So if I put in $120, actually, that's a lot a month. Let's say we just budget for $15 a month. No, let's go $30. $30 a month. We're going to budget for excursions, camps that come up for the kids. This is a really safe way of doing it. This could also be used for university studies. So you might have your quarterly or half-yearly fees, your parking fees, if you have a uniform. I know that the uni I went to, some of the classes, you had to do like a prac and you had to have certain clothes to wear. And then there's other ones here. So again, if you go to a private school and there's other weird fit that, if there's other fees such as music, I know, drama, things like that there, you can just take out the other and put in. If nothing applies, you just leave it blank. Again, I think this is a great way to budget things so you don't get caught in the lurch on here's a bill and you think, oh my goodness, I have not allowed for that. So they are all the tabs across the bottom. I chose the ones that are pretty much big ticket items. When I first made this budget planner, I did ask for some feedback, and these were pretty much consistent with, these are the big ticket items that always come up that you forget about, or they're like the must-haves that you must pay for, or you're kind of, in a bit of trouble with the bank. So let's go back to the budget tab, and we're going to focus on these two first columns here. So you're going to see a bunch of numbers in there now that have been pre-populated. So big one is here, our mortgage, $253.85 a week in our mortgage. We then move down and we see that we've got our insurances sitting here for $45.77 a week. And then we move down and we've got our car repayment, and then we've got our schooling. Now, again, I have kept the schooling particular to schooling, if that makes any sense, and I did do a daycare one separately. So once those figures are in, what you're going to go through now is enter in all your other expenses. Now, one tip I like to give is I always like to round up, because if prices go up in Australia or America, if there's a cyclone or a tornado, prices of food usually goes up because it's harder to get. I mean, we're living in a pandemic right now, people, and it was almost impossible to get toilet paper. So what we're going to do now is go through and enter anything that is applicable to us on a weekly basis. If you don't know what the weekly expense is, Pull out your calculators, people, and work out what your weekly expense is. I'm going to go through now and do my hypothetical calculation. If you own a property and you don't know what your rates, water, electricity, and those kind of things might be, look at your quarterly bills and you can pretty much get a good idea. I'll get the quarterly bill, times it by 4, that gives me my annual guesstimate fee. I'll divide that by 52 and then I'll round up to give me a weekly figure. But right now I'm going to go through and enter in what my family spend on a weekly basis for anything that applies here. Okay, and I am done. So I've entered in everything that my family would use on a weekly basis, and I now have a total of $881.62. If we were listening at the very beginning, I gave us a figure that wasn't $881.62. So I'm going to give you, again, this is an example. So this is after all my bills are paid, my family is sitting in negative $26.62. So right now we are living outside our means. That negative $26.62 that we are spending is not our money. Someone else is paying that money, whether it's the bank, credit card, however it's coming about. We cannot live the way we do right now because we are sitting negative. Negative is not a good thing to be at. So what we need to do is come back to our weekly expenses and see what we can do. So just by having a look, there is plenty of things that we can change straight away. So outings down here, I've got $100 a week. And outings can be anything from a coffee, dinner, breakfast. You might have that as buying new clothes, new shoes, whatever it might be. Now, my family, hypothetically, we're going to say my family is a family of 3. So I've got 2 adults and a little one. And outings at $100 a week does seem quite high because when I look at all my other fees, they're all pretty much sitting, apart from food and mortgage, everything else is under $100. So to have $100 of outings a week might be a bit excessive for my family. So if we need to start budgeting a bit more, I might actually change that. I'm going to be realistic. I'm not going to cut it down to $50 a week because budgeting is something that you need to work on and not just go like cold turkey. So I'm actually going to adjust that down to $70 a week. That's cutting out one takeaway lunch probably a week, which is probably quite doable. Now, as I sit here looking at this, I'm thinking, well, what else can I do? I'm looking at this going, okay, we pay gym $55 a week. Do I use the gym that much? Can I find a cheaper gym? I do know there are cheaper gyms out there that are not $55 a week. So maybe I need to call the gyms and find a better deal than $55 a week. Also going through, I'm looking at these going parking. So my husband pays $40 a week in parking to be able to get to work. Is it cheaper to use public transport? Maybe, don't know. Maybe that's worth looking into. The big thing that I find with people when I done this survey while creating this budget template was the 2 biggest expenses was the rent or mortgage, depending on how you live, and your food. And that's why I really focus on budgeting for food, because that is one thing that you can definitely control, and you'd be surprised on how many people overexpend on their food without realizing. So if it's written down and it's a bit more visual, you can see where your money is going. So again, that is potentially something you could look at to reducing down. But something that we can just turn around as a family and collectively say right now is, okay, outings, we've got to cut it. So let's stop buying the daily coffees. Let's just reduce down the breakfasts to every Saturday, not every day, every weekend. And by making a simple change, we've now got $3.38 saved every week. Probably not the best savings to have. There definitely needs to be work done, because $3.38 a week is not going to get you far with your savings. And if something happens in the economy, hello, we just hit a recession and a global pandemic, $3.38 in savings for a family of 3 might bite you in the bum. So again, back to this column here, you need to study these 2 columns and work out how you can make some changes. And I constantly, so on my phone, if you download the Google sheets. This is actually an app you can get on your phone. So this is the app here you can actually get on your phone. If you download that, you can open up your template anywhere and everywhere and think, okay, how can I change things? You might be sitting on the couch, looking online, trying to get a better plan, and you think, oh my goodness, I've just scored one. You can quickly check what you're paying and you can go, it's definitely cheaper, I'm changing over. The other thing, if you've gone through a really hard time and potentially COVID has really affected your family, you need to look at things that are probably more of a luxury. And right now, Stan, Netflix, Disney, those things, Foxtel, those things might be more of a luxury. Your phone plans, oh my goodness, I know so many people that are on such expensive phone plans and you don't need to be. Your internet, I get people are working at home a lot more frequently now, but can you cut back on your internet plan? Yes, unlimited is fantastic and it's great, but something to consider is looking at this kind of bracket here going, maybe they are a bit more of a luxury, can we cut them back? If you are really struggling, I know in Australia the banks or the RBA or the government allowed freezing on mortgages. So it is an option that if you are really, really struggling, have a chat to your bank and see what you can do. The other thing you need to do is have a look at what you're paying rate-wise with your banks. Maybe it's cheaper to move to a different bank. We've owned a lot of investment properties over the years, and every time a tenant has moved in, so this is information that has come from real estate agents, and I've always used it with me when we have either rented a property or we've taken out a mortgage on a property. Whenever we would take on a tenant, they would give you like a breakdown. So whenever you go to apply to rent a property, you have to fill out a form and it's got like your 2 pay slips, your income, your bills. So they ask you a bunch of questions, and so does a bank. Our real estate agents have always said you're low risk to take on a tenant, one, if they've got a good reputation, and two, if their rent, what they're going to pay is 40% or less of what their income is. So they would actually do the breakdown for us and say, look, out of these 3 potential tenants, this one here is the lowest risk because they've actually got a higher income to pay for the rent. So if something was to happen to their savings, they're still quite likely to pay for their rent because they're not basically living off $3.38 in savings a week. So guys, I hope that has helped explain the budget planner. It is free, it is basic, but sometimes basic is all you need to be able to get some things written down so you can actually see where your money is going. A lot of people just find they lose track of things and they purchase things and then you think, oh my goodness, I've only got $33.38 a week to save. So that $30 top is definitely not worth it right now because that's going to take you almost 10 weeks to save just to buy that top. So either one, change your budget, or two, put some things in place to be able to save towards that thing there. So again, I hope this helped and we will talk soon. Bye.